All right, we are back online. Hello, everybody. Let me get all the social media and everything fired up. It's been a while since I've streamed due to my health issues. So let's see how things will be going today. Let's see. So need to first make sure that I actually put in the correct links. Okay. Then let's check out the news. So it's one place, and of course you have to check out Slack. So let's see what's new in the Meteor community today. Okay, got some message. And let's look. It looks like I'm mostly caught up with everything. How is everybody doing? What's new in the world? All right. That should get us attention now. Still recovering. Still hurts to take deep breaths. And also, don't make me laugh. That's dangerous. That hurts. And usually, it causes the cough to get much worse than it is. So that's the bad news. The good news is, I usually don't have the cough that much anymore. So things are, relatively speaking, pretty good. And we had some interesting things happening within the Meteor community, all that stuff. So today it will be very, very straightforward. Don't have much plan except continuing to upgrade Meteor 3. And then from that, see what are some of the things that we can utilize. I'm trying now also Biome, which is kind of like ESLint Prettier and similar tools all in one. I'm pretty happy because I had a lot of trouble with ESLint and Prettier previously. I used the standard JS for formatting as well, so it was quite crazy. But right now, I'm pretty happy with Biome. And the big thing, I think, what's kind of happening in my application, what I'm noticing has a lot to do now with React and how React handles data and all the other stuff. So we will be dwelling into React a lot, and especially with the hooks there. So I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of reworking of components. I think we've kind of coming full circle. For those who remember higher order components, I think we are coming back to them, and we're kind of separating things for data components and kind of the presentational components as well. And we did have we do have upgrade on it. So let's get the screen up and running over here. So there's an alt thread from February, best way to organize functions in React. It's a bit more advanced, but I'm gonna add my observations that I just described. And we have here from RG David response, which looks quite interesting. I started working with React routers data fetching, and it isn't compatible with having unknown components on the router level. Yikes. But maybe not necessarily a problem for me. With use and suspense, I am planning to make a standalone components that have the following structure: suspend boundary, data fetching UI. Data fetching can be either a subscription or a method. For our use, the component should be the same for both client and SSR. Okay, and haven't thought yet how this will work with the React server components. So that's also a new thing in, was it 18 or it's more 19 definitely for sure. I still do not know if this will work with React 18 and Meteor 3. We also have a mix of hooks and classes. Yes, that's another things. But yeah, this is kind of what I'm getting as well. I have a data fetching component and then UI. The big thing is that if I have it right now, that I have, probably show you soon, an example that I have the data fetching in the component where I have the UI display as well, then it starts to do very strange things, and probably best to jump right into it. Right now, which I will be pretty much rewriting, is this comment component. And yeah, you can see it just starts like going crazy, reloading, and this is the better scenario. It took some rounds, and then it was kind of happy. And this is after me already separating some of the things in its own thing. Before, what would happen if I click the add, the entire page would just start reloading from scratch, which is obviously an absolutely horrid user experience, but still we see a lot of that. So my goal today is really to take this apart and figure out what the heck is going on, so that hopefully we can figure out a little bit more from all of this. So here we have we have the story revisions comment. I think this is already, yes, this is already the original that I have adjusted a little bit, moving this to top data because there's many data sources coming on here. So here we have the subscription, then we have the story revision, or the story. We get the story document, we get the chapter document, and we get the revisions for listing. Then that goes into this component, and here we go. Here we have a reference. Just remove this initial undefined, that's not really needed. Version select element, so that goes to the select element for these things. Actually, if you see, then it's actually not working properly because it's always fetching the same comment. This one works a bit faster, but yeah. So in every revision the same comment. So we need to fix that and figure out what's going on. So then we have I think big part of this is because of how the revisions are being set. Because there's another big part which is display location and workshop. So let's see. Actually go back here, and you can see I have similar issue with it, just like reloading multiple times throughout the application, which is not good. So let's see if I can go here to these revisions, another window, and over here. Okay, here we have even bigger problems. So yeah. And now it's saying that I don't have any revision for chapter 2. What chapter was I on before? Maybe here, chapter 1. Yes. And again, this crazy load. And it's, as you can see, it's like only the beginning of the circle that we have there, which shows that the component itself is reloading instead of loading rate normally. So let's go here. Let's actually jump to chapter 1, where we have multiple revisions. And there is occasionally an error. That's one thing I noticed at Biome. In this case, in story revisions component, where it will assume that React itself is a type. So when I save here, no, it actually does even default. You see here, it says the default import is only used as a type. And I'm not sure if this is Biome or if it's something else going on here. But definitely the types here are like not working well. It's an old component, yes, but it should not saying cannot find name FC. It's TSX, so React time functional component use. Why is this? What's going on here? So import use tracker, and then it's like var what? This makes something is broken here. In a build tool, that's not good. That's the first time I've seen something so strange, because types and all that stuff, that is. So let's see if I remove the type stuff. See, it just goes type React and blah blah blah, and of course that's nonsense, because almost seems like it's yes, it's almost okay. Now it's correct, and it for some reason works. I'm not sure exactly what Biome was thinking. And this is one of the things that sometimes happens. That's like the that's one of the issues I have with Biome occasionally going a bit crazy here. So, and I think this will be very nice examples. So first of all, let me just do very quickly some quick fixes that just shows how old this thing is, because we have already a lot of new component, heading the back arrow, title, and then we have this here. So this way is unified across the different versions. And let's see. So now if we save it, we have this nice view, and we'll eventually go into the comments. I just want to do here just a quick check, because oh wow, look at that. Just there's always something popping out because of I did pretty much everything got a major upgrade, all dependencies, which results that almost always there can be something broken. But this time loading it up, that went fast. Not a big issue. And this one I will have to check later on. That's pretty good. So revision 0, let's go to revision 1. And yeah, here we go, the same issue here. The difference though here is that if this is, since this is not in the workshop, changing things here is just going to navigate to a different URL. And in which, in this case, we see that that one didn't have any comment. And this one probably, once it's eventually figure out what's load. Yeah, no comment here, no comments here. I think one reason why this is loading so slow is because of that there are comments and it's just going crazy. This is one of the oldest parts of the website, which is one of the reasons why this is such an issue. Because originally this was in Blaze, and when I did the migration 8 years ago from Blaze to React, it was pretty much one page in Blaze, one component in React. I was learning it, so yes, it's a freaking mess. And looking at all of this, let's leave even the naming conventions. It hurts. Yes, today it's okay. Let's focus on kind of show you on this example. So going back here, this one actually is not having an issue, but so it's fine. But I kind of want to use this because primarily to show that that's going to work. Let me show you how this is going to go. So I'm going to create a new component called Story Revisions Data. I still have not updated my template, so it will be. Oh, I can type, damn it. So the idea here is take out as many. Well, first of all, we'll be using the same input because we'll have to pass that through anyway. So that's there. And then we have some params, intl. So what we'll need are the parameters, because we are in this component, as the name says, we are loading the data. And so we'll copy over the loading. And let's see, then we have then we'll update the rest of the functions here. And it did not, of course, copy over the use tracker. Man, this is ancient. Doesn't even use find or use subscribe. Still a tracker. Wow. So that will be our first change. Who knows? Maybe because it's using this ancient, it just uses tracker. It does the Meteor subscribe manually in there. Maybe that's causing there not to be so many problems. That's I think an interesting hypothesis to consider going forward. So, but we've got those here. And now then for chapter, we get only one so that can stay in the tracker. But revisions, we use find. So we will be using use find here as well. Let's put that here, use find. And that will be constant revisions. It's a good question and then we have another subscribe here. Okay, so we actually have 2 subscription there. Could be, we could probably do composite subscription, but oh, I see how this is working. So because we first need to get the chapter, so it waits here until it's loaded, then it gets the chapter, and we can do that in tracker. And so let's actually revert here a little bit. Let's not get too overly ambitious, because then that could very quickly end up in a disaster. So let's see, I have some problems here. So we need the story and fan fiction included here. Interesting thing, we don't need universe ID here from use PAM, so we can remove that. I think that's then used. It's not used here in the link back. So we have the use tracker, and we use the meteor.subscribe here as well, and then get the rest, which is a bit of a bit of a problem, because we are getting into a waterfall, and I think we can speed this up. Let's see. First of all, okay, the problem here is that we are only getting the revision number, which is not a bad thing. Let's see if we go back here, where is this chapter sequence coming from? Okay, so it's going from param. So I was, again, a bit too eager. We don't need the universe ID, but we have the chapter sequence. And normally we get chapter ID. So I want to check here for, okay, let's just switch the directory to use it in the app. Since it's monorepo, we have multiple things there. So it subscribes only once. We have only one subscription. Come on. There you go. This is actually, our current file and the previous one. I think we can get away in changing that this publish. So I'm just making things work. So instead of chapter ID, if we go to revisions, we see you have the chapter ID, user ID, revision. Okay, so that's why that originally did it as it is. I don't have the sequence there, which makes sense. Why not? Problem is then, so if I want then here on the server side get it, then I would have first to go to the story to figure out which chapter is, or actually first get the chapter. Let's see, wait. I'll have first to fetch the chapter. So let's see, where do we have revisions, chapters collection? Because in chapters collection, I have the story ID and the sequence. So I would have to first fetch that, or fetch based on those two parameters. Then I get the chapter ID, and then I can do the thing. So it's a extra call to the database. But if that really depends on if we need the freaking chapter anywhere else as a constant. So if we need it here later on for calls, so that I know which one it is, and to display some values on the last or on the current draft. So it's not, it's still usable, and we'll still need it. So how can we improve this without while using some of the modern approaches? Because what we want to do here is for the 2 subscriptions to start immediately. Which is going to save us time. So how are you, chat? I see we have at least 5 people watching. Let me know in the chat, how are you doing? Who is watching me? Streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and X. So let's see. How are we going to solve this in a nice way? Because and this is something I'm still, exploring. What is the best approach to doing, this in React? So I would really love to hear what are your opinions, and how can we, because the idea eventually is to maybe publish some sort of a guide or something that's going to help us help us to kind of have a nice guide that says, okay, this is the way to do this. Because you can see, here I have mixing a lot of things. The biggest improvement here is that I use the use subscribe hook, which I do believe is much more performant and better than just doing the meteor.subscribe. Or is it? I think at least when it comes to watching a lot of the params coming in and out, that one I think is much more better. Okay. Let's not dwell too much on this because we have bigger fish to fry. Let's import Meteor here. And then we want to get the story revisions. We put in story, fan fiction, we'll just pass that. And now we can start putting in the new. Actually, no, we need to do one more thing, which is a new component that I have specifically for this. Subscription result. This is, I'm modeling that on Apollo GraphQL. If we go into this, this is pretty much just displaying like a loader before pushing things through. And we have here revisions and chapter as a data. And here have loading. So loading, and it will then manage inside there how it's displayed or not. And we need then to pass out chapter, and the other one is revisions. Catred Furious, hello there. So now that we pass these new in, no, not subscription result. We want to go to here, back here to story revisions. I can then eventually start slowly kind of pulling things out. I think the first one that we want to complete replace will be, well, actually we have to do it at the same time. So first, what we need to actually replace is whenever we call this component story revision. Thankfully, one is the data, and another one is the router story. So we just added here, interestingly. And since we don't have the input here story, nowhere else we do have the fan fiction. So I'm going to actually remove fan fiction from both. So now it will go to the data, and I need to figure out what the heck is fan fiction used here for. If universe ID n is not a fan fiction. So for that, because since that's never got passed, that will result in bad data. So that looks like a feature that has never been implemented. Yikes. Okay. Let's see here. We do have to check on the stories collection, and I want to see here. Yes, fanfiction is there as a Boolean, so the replacement for fanfiction here is just to do story.fanfiction. So that should be, that's it. So we can remove it, and yeah, one less thing to worry about. Okay, then the other thing that we use there, of course, is this one and then this tracker. So we'll remove those. Now we removed anything else that's the chapter sequence. Okay, that one is being used and everything else is being used as well. And we want to get this universe ID because sometimes it can be that. So let's see. Cadred Furious has the actions, I believe. Saying that there's this presentation mode. So let's take a look what it does. Okay. Let's see. The big thing, though, that I am not too happy about is that I don't have my. Oops. Yes. That's not helpful. But I lose my files. It's gonna go here. Okay. Doable. Okay, great. Thanks very much for Cadred Furious for these things. So this, because this we need this, or at least I need this to kind of be able to move around for the files I have not opened. Okay, so we have that. Of course, we get here that we need chapter and revisions. Now the loader is managed elsewhere. And of course, we need to get the types. Chapter. This one. And revisions. It's should be just revision, and of course it's an array. Chapter, revisions, and now everything should be happier. Let's see in our browser if it actually works and we don't get 404. So that's actually good. Okay. Let's go up completely from this version. So we'll go for chapter 1. Ta-da, work, nothing has really changed here. So this is kind of the approach that we want to do. Move away all of these hooks and similar from the presentation component, or you could say the main UI component, so that the data fetching is elsewhere. And we still have like things like Meteor that call a sync here to get to have the actions happen. If I wanted maybe to be even more pure, I would be importing those actions into this component as well to make it even easier to present in in another, in places like storybooks, but I am not that, I could say, that far yet. And I will be doing that at some other point in time. The main thing is that we've improved this little. You kind of got the idea what I'm aiming here, because the next step for us is to go here. We have the current draft. We have the story revisions list. So some lot of old code. We even have the old prop types here, which we can delete. It's still a JSX. It's not even a TSX. But as much as I want to jump into it, I promise you that we'll get to the other parts. So let's just remove only that part, and we want to get to the to this one, to the story revisions comments. So that is the one that's causing us the problem. That's when I click here on this, it goes crazy. So what is happening in this component? What's potentially causing us issues? Let's close this for a moment so we have more space here. So we have the universe ID, maybe chapter sequence ID, story ID, maybe display location and revision ID. I think all these maybes are based on where it's coming from, because let's see where we are using it and how. So here we have it. We have the router. So we always get the story and universe, and here as well. So I think story ID, universe ID, story ID, universe ID. So I think the universe ID and story ID we can now assume that we'll always have. I'll be happy. And of course, we also have the display location, but the question mark here is because on the router itself, we might not necessarily have universe ID, and that is because universe or story doesn't have to be an universe; it can be a standalone. So, but we always will have story ID, because without a story, we don't have anything else, comments, revisions, or revisions. So. And here we have it. If we don't have story ID, then we'll get it from the params, not story ID, which would be in case of the displaying in workshop. If we don't have the chapter sequence, so I'm guessing this is displaying in editor. No, that makes sense. That would be displaying in workshop as well. Okay, let's check here. What do we have in the URL? So we do have the have it there. So we don't have that when we are actually in the workshop as well. But if we are in the reader or in the editor, then we have all those information because they come from the current selections over there. So we get the chapter sequence from params, we get the revision ID. This is interesting. Revision ID from params, revision ID. Yes, indeed, we do have a revision ID. And if you look back, if you look here though, it makes sense that you want to have the select there to quickly change between them. If I move here, it will still be stuck on that. It doesn't navigate. So that's bugs joining here as well. So we have to really separate this because all of this pretty much was originally just a one component, which you can imagine is can get very, very badly very quickly. So now we have here that we get the data, so that should make things happier. And then it's about getting story revisions, revision, and it's a suspense, isn't it? Yes, it's a suspense thingy. So that's going to cause potentially other issues here, given how we have non-suspense and suspense. Oh, now here we have suspense as well up here. So it's all suspended. Which is why I don't use the previous one, the subscription result component. Because we have something more above that kind of does the same thing. So what we need to do this is separate, I think, this component even further. So we are now at the story revision components. I think we need to separate this into the listing of revisions. Where we are going to move the this tracker, which is, if we look here on the top data, chapter get revision tracker. So I do believe all these subscription that will be over here because it's a published component. So we have only one subscription for all of that, in which we get the story. We get, interestingly, the user, so the author. Yes, we got the author. We get the chapters, and then revision for each chapter. So it's very heavy subscription and the top data. Now let me check just one more thing about the chapters that we get. Story ID sequence. Okay, so it's just one chapter, limit options. Up here is limit 1. So we get just that, and then we got the revisions. Okay, so that's reasonable. I was afraid there for a moment that I missed something bad. So so let's do here a new component, story revisions select. And we also need another one, which is going to be story revisions select data. Oh, and I just put it as a TypeScript instead of, nope. It's so big that I make a mistake, TSX. Select data. So what we want here then is the is the tracker. So you want to get, no, not actually, not even that. Let's see, we might actually not even need the data. It's not in this scenario. If anything, because we have the revisions over here, which is using use find. So we might want to get this one there actually. Again, to separate it, and this is so that let's see, it's also a suspense, which is good, but that's not going to have so my idea here is to separate things out into their, to get the data where you actually need it, so that potentially also in the future it might be reusable. So in the future, if I separate things and move around, then the only addition thing I have to do here is to add a subscription potentially. So we'll be needing a chapter. From over here, it's type, which will be fixed on its own later on. Okay. And then, of course, that's going to go all the way to story. Revision select, in which will then will pass the revisions from here. Now for the select itself, we need to go back here and grab the select, which also will be this entire row. We have the revisions here, revision dot revision. Let's see. It's this part, finding the one selected revision. Yes, which we can do pass through. So I'm just going to grab this entire thing, push it here, and select, figure out what we actually need here. So we definitely are getting revisions here. And let's see, once we save this and it's analyzed, what else is going to be read. We have the reference here. Not sure. I don't think that will be needed anymore. No, it's not displaying properly. We'll need this format display name from INTL. What is it now doing here? Okay, something is not working as it should. There we go. Okay. So we have revisions item. And let me go back here if there's any good reason for the revision exists. It's only used in the handle, which this seems to be a very old way, because we can just get the event and from there we can get the thing. So revision is not needed, or sorry, reference. Now here we have the default value that we need to pass in. So So we have handle revision change that needs to be put in, and default value. So if we go to the select data here, plug it in here like that. Value, format it, and we can add it here as well. So default value is string, and handle revision change is something like this, I believe. E event. I think there's a better type, but for this in React, should be fine. Okay, what is the error here? So now then, let's put in the chapter and the revision change, and then we have the default value, which was revision _ID. Okay. So let's see. You can see it's a lot of things that are done better today. It's all based on display location, and if that's the case, if it's in wait a moment. Let's see. That's actually a mistake here. Interesting. This is display location workshop that we get this part. So again, just move things a little bit so it's more understandable. But if we are an editor, we just get the nice title over here. Otherwise, we get this more complex one. Yay. So let's formatting. And if we don't have revision, we don't even get there. So instead, we get here the event. What was that here before? Just selected index. Well, I think I will have to actually kind of go into it and figure out, because I think that might be one of the issues, that it's just a bit not there. So we have here constant selected. And actually right now we'll just do nothing, because we'll just First one to figure out what we are getting. So it will be e dot target something. Let's just keep it up. That. Let's remove again. Good thing about removing hooks or like any of this thing is it should make things hopefully a bit smoother. And of course, if we'll use navigate if we are at the proper display location, and I want to reuse here this and check if we actually have. Yes, we do. Replace this with this one. Actual type. So if that changes in the future, I don't have to go around and change things manually. So for my display name is gone. One less thing to worry about. So how it's here is getting the revision. So let's not. This is something that we want to get. So question, where do we want to get this thing? Because that's going to change. Or that should be changing based on what we have for revision. And what was the younger me thinking here? Or maybe it was something specific that I was doing in Blaze and then trying to replicate it in React. That's also an option. Find async validate. See, I'm not sure that we even need that. Get the latest revision. Yeah, that's. It seems like a. Yeah, this makes no sense. I get it that it might be easier to get it from the collection than going through the revisions array. But it just makes no sense to me. And what does that affect? It affects it here. That we need the revision. And I don't understand why my oops, into this. Why I'm not seeing the. Why is it not highlighting what it should be highlighting? Revision ID. This also doesn't look necessary. Okay, let's get this. I think this is one of the issues that maybe is causing it to reload so much because there's a lot of stuff that probably should not be there anymore. And now it starts actually displaying things again. So it goes for the revision. We will have the rev ID, or yes, revision ID. So if we go back to top data, where is the ref ID coming from? From the params. Okay. So we either get it from the params or we get it from above. So we don't even have to do any of those fancy things. So let's get the display location values here as well. So what is the revision.revision? Of the here default, you can go to ref ID, but then we need to find the actual it's revision. So if we go back to the revisions collections, so that's just a number. That tells us what revision number it is. Which makes sense that we want that. So I do think, though, in order to get let me try revision equals revisions collection dot find one. And that will be ID, the revision ID from there. It's synchronous, so made a lot of changes. So let's see how it's exploding over here. So as expected, the revision is not defined, but I think now that will be fixed. And here, with this, find one, I'm betting, or just, to get it there, it doesn't have to be a reactive source. Actually, I don't even want it to be a reactive source, because in this case, since it's only client side, it's already interacting with what is in the minimongo. It just goes there, get it, returns it, done. No reactivity or anything. That is, we don't need it here. It makes no sense. That's handled in other locations more. That said, we can probably, since we are getting some issues, let's see, is this suspended? Yes, it's suspended. I'm just no, because I don't want to put it matter there, because for the revision comments later on, as we get into them, I just want them to load separately, and story revisions select data should be where it is. So it doesn't like the default value. Type string undefined is not able to type string. I think, especially since we set it up there, it doesn't matter. We'll get this as well Okay, this is how we are going to get things. And of course, the revision can be undefined, but we'll deal with that later. Can probably do maybe like if revision exists, then display this. Why doesn't it like it's that? What? Let's simplify things here. It's not the same. Interesting. Where is this type coming? Workshop, and my revision comments. Wait, what? Also from the same place. Interesting. Well, for later. Okay. Let's see how much have we broken things here. So format message is not this. What? Of course it is. Maybe not on the select. Yes, of course. That's fixed, but at least mean that it's getting there, which is a positive. Let's wait for it to refresh. In the meantime, I can probably prepare here. The types. Default value. String. Handle. Revision. Change. No. What the heck is going on here? This will be and we can put a question mark here. That's fine. Okay. So far, so good. We have, though, saw quite a long time there, but I think I might just because it was been refreshing the background. Though the official, yes, let's check the errors and see what we can fix here to make things. Okay, so this is the old messages, so we don't have any errors. If I select something new here, we get the select component. Get the option. Let's see. Value is 2. Oh man. Let's see how I put it here. Option key value item revision. Item.revision. It might be better if I just do item.id. That way that will also explain why I probably had the crazy if and whatnot there, because of just apologies, I need to quickly check here something. because I was just putting in, okay, what revision it is, and not yes. So okay, so I'll have to deal with that in a moment, but here, apologies. Let's go back here. So now if I get the um, item ID back, then I have a lot of, well, it becomes easier because then I can just do e.target dot value, and I do believe eventually in React 9, but that's mostly to format it. There might be some additional stuff. So I get the revision ID. What was this selected use for? Nothing anymore. Great. So we get that, and then based on the display location, it should navigate. It should navigate to the proper comments. Based on that, else set revision ID. Or not else, but let's actually. It's maybe better in else, so it doesn't try to set it as we unload and do crazy things. So just to be on the safe side here. And now, since we are also passing the ID as the default, the select should work. Wait, why are we not using revisions? Oh, because we are grabbing them over here. So there is no need for them to be here. And we can go to the top data and get rid of them. Oops, wrong. Revisions. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, it selected the default correctly. And if we go to chapter 2, it did not navigate there for. And we have some error here. Okay, so it's not related to there. That's just because I'm changing there. Just in case, let's get rid of that and start with a clean bill here. Oh no, it's on 0, so it. Wait. Interesting. Revisions. Check if we go back here. Okay, so this goes. Let's go. So let's start with revision 1. Chapter 1, revision 1. Good. 0. Selected properly, but it did not, or did it navigate? I'm just okay. It navigates us, but Still a lot of crazy loading. And the title is not changing. So that would be this heading with back arrow. Okay, so that means we have to check what are we getting here for revision. Because it's moving, so far correctly, but specifically this part is not changing. So then we have the issue with the comments here being crazy, or everything's still being crazy. Makes kind of wonder if it might not be faster to do a full rewrite. But I need to figure out what is going on there. Okay. Okay, that's not good. And this, I think this is, you kind of see the part of the problem here. It's like we've got it like 50 times, or not 30 maybe. Then we get the revision. That one gets selected properly. So let's go to profile and figure out if profile can help us. Start this up. Boom. So this is the first initial load. A lot of stuff is happening. And then we get to the top data. It's the first time it's been rendered. Okay. And then it's gone. And then it's back again, saying that hook 3 and 7 have changed. And the story and chapter props coming in. So this still looks okay, because it's the first time the component has surrendered, but it's still annoying that when it renders and then it re-renders again. It just disappears and re-renders again. I need to quickly then check if here, yes, okay, so I have the strict mode on, so that would explain that. So that should be fine then in that aspect, because this is what strict mode does. It re-renders again to check for hooks being strange. All right, we are fine. So the problem is I don't understand why we get so many. Even though the profiler said it only like rendered twice, we still have this value here multiple times. And then it was some sort of issue there. So let's switch. And the ID here is not, or sorry, that's chapter ID. Okay, so the ID is the same. But it should be revision 2. If I go to revision 0, no, it's the same ID, but in the link up here, it's different. So that means that the revision ID that we are getting from the top data is not correct. And where are we getting the rev ID? Params. Makes no sense. Okay, another console log time. And I am wondering maybe if that's because of so the revision ID that comes in is identical to what's in the URL. So let's see if I do full reload here. Let's see if we get the correct one. We get 0 and everything is fine. Now if I change it to 1, our find one is returning the wrong one. Interesting. It looks like it's even cached, and no matter what you do, it always returns the same one. That's an interesting thing, and I do. Ooh, that might be part of the React compiler, which I have. Potentially, maybe it's memoizing it. Which would make sense, but in that case, then the memoization is using wrong things there. But no time for polemization. If we cannot find it like that, and this is actually one thing to at the end find. I always forget if find can. Yes, find has the ref, and we'll just. Oh no, but the problem now is that we don't have the revisions here anymore. Starting to go in the circles here. Oh. This is wrong because it needs to be underscored ID. Well, thankfully, it's only one use find that we will be adding back. Back here, and shouldn't have the effect or any impact on that. So now let's see if with this change, I do actually in the chapter here now, so it still works. And if we get the correct revision. I did not define there. Find. Let's wait for it to refresh. Come on. There we go. So revision 1, and please move to revision 0. Still not cooperating to move to the correct revision number. Freaking why? Because it should be, like the state changes, and then it should just follow everything else that's there. So let's put it here. The state is still the same. Okay, so it's So the issue was not in anything of that nature. The issue is that the set revision ID. Oh, I see. That's still super strange. Because if you navigate, shouldn't that change, kind of force it to re-render? Maybe I did here a fix for something that was not supposed to be fixed. Seems that it's not. Okay, now it's doing the stuff. But we have a problem here. and a big one, I would say. So what's gonna summarize here, and let me reduce things to how I can get back. Wait, is that? Wait, we got stuck here. I don't want to do this because I do believe that let's go back to the data version. We don't need revisions for now. Revisions collection 1. Revision ID. And let's see. The problem here is that this navigate only changes the URL, but it doesn't re-render the component here. It doesn't change things. So I do. Let's see, where was the router story? How can we make this? Can we make this bad boy work? I'm kind of thinking we could maybe add a key here. Or as a revision ID. Let's see if this does the trick. Because it's like in a way, you know, it is a smart memoization that, you know, unless it hasn't really changed anything there. Let's see, what do we have? No, okay, is it running? Yes, it's running. So why did it have been not connected? Let's see. 0. Okay, now it works. Revision 1, 1, 2, 2. So it was something what we call maybe premature optimization in that aspect. Very unusual, but now we have it working at least partially. Problem is we still see this crazy loading, and it's a bit better because we kind of set it up. The problem though is that what I'm seeing here is if I click here for 2, it does it and then goes infinitely even further here. And so let's go. Here we have the revision comments, which is comments add, some comments count, and then we have comments list data. It's not what I wanted over here. First of all, let's first check for any. Okay, it's a suspense thing. So I want to actually put this into suspense so that it doesn't go up. So this should prevent the crazy reloading because there is something wrong with this component. or at least it should like prevent it from more upstream. Which is exactly what we want, because when we change it then later on other places. Okay, that. Okay, you see here. So what happened here? The how to write your comment has been added perfectly, and now we have issue inside over here. So comment list data. So here we have, as we've seen before, we even have here to handle more comments. So we have here comment limit with all the staff comments. And we do have here use Meteor state. Let's just switch here to use state, because use Meteor state is experimental, and I would even say mostly for development, but I will have to get some time back to it to figure out what's going on here. So let's switch to state just in case. And then in comments list what's happening. This is also another ancient thing, is we have the comments data. Need to show. So comments data. See, I've already tried to separate things where it's subscribed. Again, to comments for. Okay, so now it's getting into the actual component for subscription. So I think this might be something that we might want to move up to here. So comments for object ID. And properties is a limit and a sort. Question though is if we have the, where else do we have comments data? Okay, so it's only in the comments list, which then is the questions comments list, of course, is going to be only in the data. So yes, we can move it here. Let's try to move it over here. Sort. Do I even have that? Okay, by default it's ascending. I have not really changed it anywhere, so let's keep it here. Sort is there. Oh, what now? What's the problem? So we move that, and we have the comments. Let's move the comments as well. Or should we? So I'm not trying to figure out how exactly are we going to move this properly so that we have no, actually let's go a little bit back here and let's look at this again. So here we get the user ID, we get the comment limit managed here, we get the total amount of comments or the counter for this object. It's a reactive counter, so we can see it in live how it goes up. And then we have the handling for more comments. So then we have here a check that if it's users only, and it's not a user, then we display nothing. Otherwise, display is just fine. And here we have then the option to display, show more comments. Click. Interesting. Okay, so that makes sense to have it in comments data because we don't want to subscribe and load stuff if there is a user. So that's, see, Alim is joining us from the Meteor.js community. Hey, Alim. I'll be actually finishing hopefully soon. Comments 4. So that makes sense. But if we see this thing where it's constantly recreating, let's check our, let's refresh here. And yeah, let's start the profile. So we see the first part loads, no problem. But then for the second part, you can see it's constantly going absolutely haywire. And it's actually even up. And I've noticed this multiple times. So like it goes to my accounts provider, then it goes back here to comments data, to comments, and all that stuff. So it looks like it's affecting, which makes no sense whatsoever. If we go, yes, so it's affects the account provider on the hook 4. It's minimize also. And it says that the context has changed, which makes no sense because the only thing that when it comes to users, if we get here, we have the context data here. This is use user ID, which is the same thing that's used in the context hook, or in the context, it's getting the user ID so it can fetch profile. So there's no reason whatsoever for anything related to that to change. And this is what grinds my gears lately, because I cannot, for love of me, figure out why does it suddenly change, in the account provider, which is hook 4. So let us look at the yes, context. Here it is. So it's the account provider. It uses here the use user ID. Maybe again Meteor state it doesn't like. It uses that user ID to do the find one for a profile. We have here a subscription handle, then use effect. It's pretty much the same thing. It's same. And let's. We can change it to this. We want to use effect, use state. Oh, just in case. We have one extra thing here. Just in case is the user use Meteor states, which I think would be a good indicator if there is this issue or not. And what we have here, the profile. So actually, just wants to have more exhaustive profile dot updated and let's put those in here. Change this to profile next, whatever. Now it's happy. So let's see if we can actually freaking even load this thing now. And I do apologize, everyone. I will have to leave in about 8 minutes for another meeting. Okay. So Alim is asking what project this is. This is Literary Universe. This is running on Meteor 3. And I'm having some issues, you can see, with React. Again, this loader thing. So if I run the profile for a little bit, it just shows me it's going absolutely crazy here with. Okay, now supposedly we don't have the account provider. So maybe my use Meteor state has been part of the issue. And let's see. Hook 5 has changed on comment list data. On the next one, it's something even deeper here. Okay, it goes to the loader. And then it says hook 5 changed. Back to loader. And hook 5 has changed in comments list data. Okay, so this is pretty damning for use Meteor state, though I am not, how should I say it? I am not entirely certain that it might be just a symptom of something else. But for now, let's get that, and also let's get, let's make the linter here happy with anything that comes in. And we said it was the comments list data. That's hook 4 is changing. So we have hook 1, use user ID. Hook 2 is use state. Use subscribe is hook 3. And we have here the use tracker. on the comments counter, which I'm willing to admit might be changing because it's the published performing counts, which is very old. But then, I would have thought then this entire freaking thing would be changing, but it's strange. And in the comments data, hook 3 changes, and the comments prop is the one that changes. So it disappears, and then it reappears on this. And interestingly, the comments here did not render comments list. So this is why this is not re-rendering the entire thing. And in which case, let's follow this comments list. What are we passing into comments data? It's actually comments data. No, there's only the hook 3 has changed. Nothing else. Nothing new is coming in. And hook 3 is the hook 3 that's changing. Hook 3 has changed. So what is hook 3 here? We have use subscribe, that's hook 1, and hook 2 is use find, and we have no hook 3. Unless I'm counting wrong something. It's a suspense. You can try to put it in a suspense block. But I would rather if the suspense block would be much more up. Because that would just, I think, work better. If this works, then I might just need to, again, try to understand how suspense work, because usually, you have multiple suspense, stuff happening, and then you have the suspense block, at which point it, it waits until everything underneath it resolves. So why did this just happen? And if I reload this, let's get rid of this. Go to comments. So it might have just happened because of something with hot module reload. So of course it's still happening here. So the suspense, adding suspense here did not help. I go to when there's no comments and everything is happy, which means it goes through this, it is defined, and it goes all the way here. So where there's nothing comments. But if there are comments, it just goes on and reload, 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 reload. And of course, this is, I want to return this to the error boundary now. And we have another suspense over here, but I want to actually get that as a error boundary as well. Because again, I want to have all the resolutions for the comments happening up there, so it's not just like, list appears and then like each comment is loading individually. I want them to, just be one loader and then all of them appearing. It's much better experience. At least that's how it should be. I don't know where something is. Okay, in this case, it's just stuck on loading. So this is why, I don't think it's necessarily a React issue. So React plus Meteor issue, something somewhere is not working as it should. This is, something that has been, I think, creeping up. See, this should not be happening, especially like not on locals. I can imagine, this, if I go to live version, that it might take a while to load because I have a small server. The server's in America, in Prague. It might take a while to load the data, but not on locals. In locals, it should be, instantaneous. Especially with Meteor, I should not be seeing any of these loaders. And this is sluggish, a bit sluggish there, but at least, adding now a new comment doesn't result in the same issue. So, kind of to sum up back, this was originally what I was seeing, the original issue, or I've tried multiple things, but one of the big things is this is like super old part of the application dating back even while this was a Blaze application. So how I did the original conversion before I fully understood React and a lot of the principles was, one Blaze component or page, move it into one React component. And eventually, over the years, I've kind of started to separating it. We started with kind of showcasing that, working on separating it, from just one component that has data fetching, data handling, and data display, the UI part, into, at least at this very point, getting the, having the data part, so where it subscribes and where it fetches the data, and then get that, and then have just the display part. This here is suspended comments. So I have the list here. And let's see. One thing that I want to just quickly check here as a last thing is to make sure that whenever we use the comments list data, there is suspense around it, which there is. So what should, in theory, happen here is, it hits the comments list data, it starts doing the subscriptions and everything. It, resolves, and then it goes below where it hits another loading for, goes to the comments list. Kind of says here, okay, do I have user? Is it user only? And then is the user logged in? If yes, then it goes into comments data and runs this, thing. It starts, it subscribes, it fetches the data and passes them on. And the suspense block at the top is waiting until all of these are resolved, until it displays the result. At least that is how it should be made. That's how it should happen. At least according to my understanding, which is, but that is not happening, because then also in the comment itself, there is And I think given that we have all of that happening, I want to actually remove this suspense here because I want also the username display to be loaded at the same time as the comment itself. So I don't want to have any loading indicator there whatsoever. But we can, I think, clearly see that. Oh, maybe now I have. Okay, here we go. Okay, there are 3 comments. This loaded, but then suddenly, even though it should. We should not see there are 3 comments. That should be in the suspense block, shouldn't it? So yes, that's over here. No. Or is it? Where is? Oh no, sorry, no. That's correct. We should be, because that is from the previous one. So that one is independent. Apologies. So if we look at the components here, we have the revision comments, we have all these fields up here, and here is our suspense. But right now is still loading. And as you can see, it's just constantly reloading. So if I go to Profiler, start it for a little bit, then there's still constantly some processing going on here that doesn't put it through here. In hook 5 is the comments list data. So 1, 2, 3, 4. What? There is no 5th hook, unless there's something potentially in use tracker or in use subscribe that adds additional hook. So wait, that's where we are at with this. And of course, then when the next re-render happen, just it's all pretty much gone. Yes, it's like this is separated, so it's nothing, and it's a suspense here in the lower revision comments, and then it just goes again. I'm going to do a quick check. Use Meteor state. It's in our app. And just because that seemed to have solved some little issues elsewhere, I'm going to, let's see, do we have anything comments right there? We have some thing here. Wait, didn't we just remove it a moment ago over here? Or did we use, or was I in the wrong content? Was I in the admin? No, that's, Okay, so it's in the other one. Let me fix that as well. Use effect, use state, and I'll just duplicate as use state. Goodbye on this. And let's do a quick check. What is the dependency issue here? It's loading and user ID. Though I'm not so sure that's correct. Let's just fix the client and let's look for the other ones very quickly. Use state. This one will get over here. And we'll switch here to state, and this entire part will be commented out. The legal model is a big one as well. Okay, that has already started one, so let's just go with use state. And another one, use state. Here, this one's commented out. Category tile. State. Let's get you removed. Quickly here, over here. Ah, damn it. Too soon. Click escape. Okay, it's actually quite a lot, so it's going to take a while, so I will not bother you with that. I think it will not entirely fix the issue I have. Or if yes, then I would be surprised, and I'll have some calls to make. Just a wild thought that maybe that the use meter state doesn't work well under suspense, or it's doing there something that's interfering with suspense. But yeah, I'll remove it, see what it does, and I'll report you back latest in 2 weeks. So coming up, what we have is next week I will be looking into GroundDB to see where we are at with GroundDB. Then the week out, and that should be because I think tomorrow we are getting a release candidate for Meteor, so that's gonna be fun. Then the week after that, so 2 weeks from now, I'll be back with upgrading stuff and doing similar thing like today. Hopefully, I will be much more further advanced than I'm today. And yeah, then we'll be in July, and there will be one episode before I think the final release of Meteor 3. So the week after that, we'll have probably a release party or the day off or the day after. Because of time zones, I'm not exactly sure when time is going to be released, but the day after the official release, I think there's going to be official reason before it's recommended. The day after official release, we'll probably have like a release party with Meteor community packages, releasing all the stuff to be compatible versions and whatnot. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And yes, so that's it. Of course, on Friday, we have the dispatches again. So check out for all the news. It will be all about mobile, which is one of my weaker sides and everything. The best I can do is mobile design. So I'm looking primarily for Jan and Alim to tell me a bit more about it. We had a big preview about using it with React Native, a walkthrough. So that's pretty interesting. And with that said, if you like these and like to kind of delve with me into Meteor 3 and how it is moving forward, what can be some of the pain points that you might experience, then please like the video. If you want to see more and understand what's coming up, subscribe to get the notifications. You can also then check out my channel and see all the past things. We also had a lot of other discussion in general, which will be coming back probably next month, at least one of the weeks on that. And if you would like to see me do this, more with higher quality, then please sponsor me via GitHub, and you can also get some additional benefits there as well, perks, and especially coming in the future, that would be big. One of the benefits is that, of course, as sponsor, you can kind of direct me which issues in the open source I should focus more on. And a quick preview here, I am planning to offer special consultation services around Meteor 3. And if you're my sponsor, you will get a discount. So now is the best time to sign up to get most of it in the near future. So probably the generous individual tier I would consider to be the best. Or you can check one of the affiliate links I have over here. Some people already had quite a nice value out of it, and you can also, you can get some out of it, and I get a little bit back as well from that. And I'll probably have to trim it out to those that I use the more. So with that said, thank you very much for watching. And yeah, this is it for today. Thank you very much. And I will see you on Friday. And if I missed you on Friday or you missed our broadcast, then I'll see you hopefully on Monday again with going into GroundDB, which I think would be pretty interesting, which is for offline first applications. So with that, have a nice week and see you soon.